Yo, what is up? What's up, everybody? What's up? What's going on? We got the fantasy football show tonight. We got all the way from the other side of, well, not really technically the other side of the US, but right in the Midwest. We got our guy, Mr. Jameson Rules, aka the Dynasty Kingpin, here hanging out with me and my man Nick Wilcox tonight. What's up, Jameson? Say what's up to everybody, man.
How's it going? I wish I was here not so sunburnt. I mean, I look like a damn lobster. I talked about that before I got on, but doing good here. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a long time coming. I finally got my internet fixed, but
Hey,
I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to do a little mock drafting. Talk a little wrestling. So I don't know. Dynasty Kingpin, that's a new one. I've been called a lot of things. That's a new one. So I appreciate it.
I just come up with random stuff, man, for everybody. And like, I was just like, I was tweeting today and I was like, okay, so like, how can I make this spicy? I was like, the Dynasty Kingpin. I was like, that's it right there. That's what I'm gonna label him, man.
I respect it. So I appreciate you guys having me on, of course.
anytime, man. Anytime. Well, without further ado, we're going to get a few breakdowns in. And then for everybody who's joining the mock draft we got going on, Fantasy Football Show, the Scott Fishbowl Mock 2.0 draft, along with some NFL news to talk about. We are getting on the show tonight. Like we said, going to talk about a few things that happened in terms of impacting fantasy football news, along with a little wrestling talk, like James overall talked about. For all of us that are, wrestling fans in here, if you're not, you're an idiot.
I love it.
Yeah. So sorry, you're in the wrong place. But that being said, we're going to be talking about first. We're going to talk about the Houston Texans today, as they overall had signed Nick Chubb to a 1-year, $5 million deal to their roster, and we'll be talking about that in particular right now. And I guess what we can say is, does Nick Chubb have any juice left? Does this Houston Texans team have any shot to surpassing the opening round of the playoffs this upcoming year in general with this signing? And then overall, what does this do for Joe Mixon's fantasy football value? John, I'll start with you.
I'm still in the same spot that, man, I've been in with Joe Mixon. Houston Texans offensive line's got a lot of issues for me. Not a place, depending on the value and how it shakes out, like for drafts. I mean, obviously things can change. But just for me, man, like, I'm not a big Joe Mixon guy. 2.2 yards before contact last year. He only played about 50% of snaps last year. So curious to see. Obviously, I know he had a little bit of injury history right now. He's still on a walking boot, I'm pretty sure, as well. And then, when you take a look at like the Houston Texans offensive line, just walking into this year, no pun intended. I mean, they've got a couple of guys, according to Pro Football Focus, that are in the top half-ish, almost in the top half, as far as offensive linemen go. Only two of them. So for me, man, I'm just not a big Joe Mixon guy. It kind of burned me last year. Obviously, I didn't have any shares of him. And then obviously it's a pretty full Houston Texans running back room, and you still got Dameon Pierce. You still got I'm gonna give it a shot. Dario Ogumawala. Dario is what I'll just go Dario. I'll just go with Dario. Yeah, I'll just go with that. I'll go with that. But yeah, man, like I'm out on that. And Nick Chubb, I don't know how much juice he has left, man. I think, like, can he be serviceable in real life football? Yeah, I think he can be serviceable in real life football. But as far as like from a fantasy side of things, I'll let somebody else deal with that headache.
James, what are your thoughts on Mixon's value? What are your thoughts about Nick Chubb potentially having some late value in general? Nick Chubb in general, he didn't finish off so bad. It seemed like he was kind of finally, finding his footing a little bit in terms of being a useful player down the stretch. I know his overall numbers don't speak to that, but at least him having over 100 carries, when we thought like Nick Chubb was really going to be such a dust ball, it's not so bad, and he doesn't have to be a full-time player anymore. What do you think, James?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm not really a Joe Mixon guy either. I've been trying to like bank on him not happening for the last couple of years. Last year, like he started off really hot, and then like the last month he was single digits from like week 14 on. He had a couple of real big spike games with, like 2 touchdowns, and made it on paper look better than the actual, game itself. And then Nick Chubb or Joe Mixon, just real quick, it seems like he's got like a lower leg injury. I know it probably doesn't mean much right now in June, but that's something to deal with as well. So, as far as that goes, like Joe Mixon, I think he's fine. I know they've fixed the offensive line, fixed in quotation marks.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they've just played, moved around a couple pieces. I don't know if they've actually gotten any better, but at the same time, I don't know if it gotten any worse. I mean, compared to how bad it was last year, it seemed like, CJ Stroud was getting Goldberg speared every 2 seconds every time they were behind the. They said, yeah, they sit there and hike the ball, and he just come out of left field and just bam. So as far as Nick Chubb is concerned, coming off a couple really bad, leg injuries, he obviously had the one in college, and then the way his leg got bent up, I guess probably about 2 years ago. Coming back last year, he was okay. I mean, he's for what he is, it's not like he's going to be catching passes out of the backfield. I mean, he's basically a straight shot runner, and for that, some of the speed zapped. He's an older back. And they also got Woody Marks, who came out of USC. They drafted him in the 4th round. Who he's like a one cut and go type of guy. He doesn't really have breakaway speed. He's a guy who kind of can get tackled pretty easily too. He's not somebody who's going to power through. So this is an interesting backfield. I don't know if I'm necessarily buying into it. Seems like CJ Stroud's got a little bit of a shoulder issue as well that they're trying to keep under wraps at the moment. So as far as Joe Mixon goes, I've been saying no the last couple of years. He's buried me, but I'm not doing it again. He's another year older, another year slower. I mean, he looks like he is running in slow motion sometimes, and you look at the end of the day, he's got like 20 fantasy points, and just like, what the hell happened here? So
yeah,
I ain't doing it, especially with the offensive line. But we'll talk about Scott Fishbowl here in a minute. He's been a volume hog, and we'll get into the scoring and all that stuff. That's something to keep an eye out, just as far as that goes. But as far as Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb, I don't think I'm going to be drafting much of either one of them.
Okay. I mean, look, the only reason why Mixon's been attractive over the last several years is because of his work volume. Like, he's always been like, the 1-2 down running back, sometimes third down here and there, but not enough usage there. When it comes to Joe Mixon, he has been consistent because the volume has been consistent. He's always been a guy that you can, potentially fill as a low end RB1, very high end RB2 when it comes to volume and metrics and usage. I think I'm in agreement with everybody else here is that, like, I haven't been a Mixon guy for years, so why start now when he has more competition? Potentially definitely won't be playing third down now. But overall, Nick Chubb coming to town could take a lot of goal line touches away from him. Because again, Mixon, like you said, James, started off hot last year, and it really tailed off when it mattered most. I don't want to be in a situation like that where, especially if I'm going hero RB, I don't want to rely on Mixon to needing me to do that overall. And again, the volume, it looks a little questionable right now. He could just be the workhorse in general again, but even then, it's like, can he be a top 7 RB or better on average for this upcoming year? It's the chances of that are not as high. So definitely with that for sure when it comes to Mixon. As far as Nick Chubb goes, for me, he's someone that is very interesting if I start hearing rumblings about like that goal line back situation, because I think that's perfect for Nick Chubb. I don't think that at a stage of his career, you don't want to run him too hot anymore. Because anything, you want to keep him fresher for if you do want to make that playoff run, you will keep his touches a little bit more on the low end, and then more as the season goes along. And obviously he'll be playing in the dome, so even better for certain situations like that for him. Versus Cleveland, where, good Lord, he'd have to always play through the conditions. So, again, like, would I take a stab at Nick Chubb? Sure, why not? Because we're going to be getting in a territory where, I'm not going to be spending a very high draft pick, if anything at all, on Nick Chubb. Like, if he goes 11th round or 12th round, like, no, I'd rather take a stab at like one of my last 2 or 3 picks, season-long drafts, and best ball. Same thing. Like, I'm not looking to like make much of my profile out of Nick Chubb either way. But again, the Woody Marks thing is interesting as well because they're all these backs do somewhat the same thing. So it's not like there's not much of a difference with these backs either. So, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much puts the caps on all that in terms of just like Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon. Anything else before we move on?
I think we're all good here.
No.
Not a whole lot to be excited about.
No,
Respectfully, of course.
No. In wrestling terms, this is what we refer to as a TV title right here. Is what we refer to it as.
There you go. There you go.
Oh Lord.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anthony Richardson, shoulder impact injury. Obviously seeing the news about Anthony Richardson and his shoulder, not fun. He's already had so many different dings throughout his career already. This shoulder injury literally impacted his rookie year when he went out with this type of injury. So now him dealing with this again is very concerning. Him having an array of injuries also up to this point when he hasn't really been like a full-fledged like NFL starter per se, with the oblique, the concussion going on. Like is this guy really going to be, we talk about, flame outs, say in the NFL, like I question now if Anthony Richardson's even going to be, a quarterback that's startable in the next 3 years, you know what I'm saying? Because of just how bad he's getting beaten up, how his frame is still not as, strengthened and these type of things, especially him as a thrower as well. So again, talking about him and then talking about Daniel Jones, right? Because Daniel Jones is going to get a little bit more factored in terms of snaps and in terms of, him being QB1 per se. Dare I say he opens up as a starter when the season starts? Who knows? But again, Indianapolis in general, like, has been something I've been wanting to watch because it does make some big fantasy football implications in general. James, let's start with you on this time around. What do you think this injury in terms of Anthony Richardson, how does it impact himself for fantasy value, the Colts in general, the playmakers on this roster, and the team in general?
Well, I was big on Anthony Richardson last year and got burned pretty bad. So if anybody knows anything about it, it's unfortunately me. But I think, honestly, this is just kind of the end of the road for Anthony Richardson for a couple reasons. I think before this injury, I think there was a real good chance that Daniel Jones was starting to begin with just because of the consistency that the Colts talked about. Anthony Richardson had problems last year, but the main thing is he just hasn't been healthy. He's already hurt his throwing shoulder again. And this is a guy who, if you're going to take a chance on him, let's say the Colts release him and another team takes a chance on him, you have to build an offense around him. It's kind of like Trey Lance. It's not just a guy who could be plugged in. He's shown that he's not reliable. This Colts offense is just constant 3 and outs with him on the field. And last year, he only had 3 top 12 finishes. And the times that he wasn't doing the boom thing, like his floor was pretty bad for a rushing quarterback. He was like single digits multiple times. So it's not like a lot of these rushing quarterbacks, like even if they don't throw a ton, it's like a safe rushing floor. I mean, Anthony Richardson's floor was, just very low. So I just think this is something for Anthony Richardson. I have a hard time seeing him come back from as far as starting unless Daniel Jones gets hurt. And I just think Daniel Jones will be able to do just enough to keep the offense going better than Anthony Richardson did, just because it's just really hard to. It was just constant 3 and outs last year. And it'll be better for the playmakers too if Daniel Jones is starting instead of Anthony Richardson.
Man,
John,
this is to quote one of our friends, it's a battle of shit versus stink right here is what this is. And like, everything you said is like spot on with Anthony Richardson, like his floor. And I actually got burned by him last year too, man. He was my first round Scott Fishbowl pick. And I freaking knew better. I knew better, but like seeing those first couple of games, man, I knew better. When we were in the Boston draft, actually the year I met you, man, we were in the Boston draft. I was like, man, I can't remember who it was. I think it's somebody from 4x4. I think his name is John. And we were just kind of shooting the shit. And I said, man, even as a UT fan, I said, I never felt like Anthony Richardson ever like scared me. He never scared me on Saturday. I never looked at the Gators and were like, damn, like we got to play against that guy. And like, obviously he started to rise up draft boards and, obviously we know the rest, but yeah, like it's bad for him, man. Like it really is bad. I think he's got like a 61% QB rating from last year, from what I'm seeing here, 4.5 interception percentage rate. It just was bad for him last year, man, in a lot of avenues. He takes some big attempts, man, to throw the ball down the field. Like, I will give him that for sure. And versus Daniel Jones taking sacks. So I think it'll be interesting to see, because at the end of the day, man, like this Indianapolis Colts offense, like the skill positions, it's not that bad. Like, they're not that bad. It's not a bad situation for him, man. So yeah, I think Daniel Jones obviously gives him the best opportunity to win games for sure. No doubt.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I would say Daniel Jones has an interesting case, because I think he has better weapons than he did when he was a New York Giants starter. I think the team in general is a little bit more, together. But I will say, like, Anthony Richardson, I don't know if it gives him the best chance to win, honestly. I just haven't seen him put it all together, like, consistently enough to say that with confidence. At least Daniel Jones, I know he could will a team to the playoffs. Like,
it's not pretty to watch, but
it's not pretty. No. It's not pretty to watch at all. No, not at all.
So it's just it's tough with Anthony Richardson, because I think a lot of the qualities are there. Obviously, the deep ball and the rushing upside. But I mean, he couldn't hit the ocean if it was 5 yards in front of him. That's how bad his accuracy is. So just tough. And like I said, especially for other teams to take a chance on a guy who can't stay healthy to begin with, can't complete passes. I mean, it just kind of tough there. So we'll see. It's a shame, because I feel like I should have known better than to put all my eggs in the basket on Anthony Richardson, but I did last year and I got burned pretty bad. So won't make
sometimes
that mistake.
That happens. Just like Kyler Murray with some people, But
oh God, don't talk about him either.
Oh man. No. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I got PTSD. I'm starting to get triggered right now.
Sorry.
No, never again. Never again.
Yeah,
never again.
It just is what it is. I mean, I think Daniel Jones would be a little bit more interesting to watch first 4, 5, 6 games of the season. Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson should get a long leash in general, because he is so-called younger and somewhat the future, so to speak. But it all depends on how that shoulder is, because I don't know. Like, it's just he's definitely looking a bit rough, and it's only early June. So
I'm gonna quote Rabbit from 8 Mile. You ain't the future of shit.
Hey, yo.
You ain't the future of shit.
OMG, yo. So, folks, we got the Scott Fishbowl mock draft upcoming. We appreciate all you guys for helping making this an awesome show and awesome draft. We'll do a few more of these, as some people are already going to be doing some Scott Fishbowl drafts already across the country. But yeah, look, I mean, we're doing this that way we can all sharpen each other, and look, hopefully one of us that's doing all this wins it all, but that's here or there. The other topic we're talking about is Money in the Bank, the WWE wrestling talk. We're talking about right now, and for all that haven't watched it, sorry, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about it right now.
Look away.
So, honorary guest tonight, James, kick us off on how you feel. How did you feel Money in the Bank went? Give us your thoughts overall, how wrestling has been actually, since WrestleMania and
come on,
all that. Do we seriously have an auto?
Yeah, we do.
Lord, yo.
Come back around. They'll be all right. Yeah. I hope.
Right.
That's the same guy talking about he needs to put the baby to bed.
So wrestling so far ever since WrestleMania, it seems like it's kind of cooled off a little bit, which is expected after they build all that, even though the main event of WrestleMania sucked. But Money in the Bank, I thought Money in the Bank was all right as far as things go. I thought the women's Money in the Bank match was pretty good. Naomi winning, kind of interesting. I think her character has been one of the better ones the last couple months compared to just the neon glow. She's got some attitude, she's got some fire to her. I think her against Jade Cargill down the road would be a lot of fun. And then the men's one, I thought it was to be expected, but I think Seth Rollins was the right winner there. And I think hopefully that leads to CM Punk at WrestleMania. We can get the John Cena stuff out of the way, because the John Cena heel turn has been, I'll just say it, a disaster as far as it's just been not what I expected. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. You have The Rock who, he's number one on my list right now as I give him the middle finger underneath the table, be professional here. But I just, I don't know, man. I thought Money in the Bank was all right. The main event, I thought Logan Paul did the best out of the rest of the guys, but it just seems like it's cooling off a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I agree. Like I was curious to see like where The Rock was gonna fit into all of this, but it looks like he's not. That's what it looks like. Can we fix that? Can we fix that?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It's easy, babe.
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, like The Rock, like, I was waiting for him like at WrestleMania and nothing really popped. And that was kind of disappointing. For nothing to happen there, like on that end. And then like Jacob Fatu, I think that's a pretty dope storyline, like where that's going. Like you can obviously see the writing on the wall with that. But what about R-Truth, man? Like R-Truth showing up. I thought that was obviously the highlight, but I do agree, man. Logan Paul, there's definitely something there with him, for sure. And it does seem like it's been slow. No Roman Reigns. And when we've seen him, it's been here and there. And even with Seth, man, like, I like Seth Rollins the Hill, but like it doesn't hit right, man. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't hit right. So I don't know.
Seth Rollins stuff hasn't been too bad. I can see where it's kind of going there. Of course, we get the part-timers, like we have Roman Reigns who will come back down the road. They'll do some stuff with him. And then, I'm a big CM Punk fan, so I'm just waiting for CM Punk and Seth Rollins to come back around.
I forgot about that, yeah.
And then, of course, they got
about that.
On Raw tonight, they've got Jey Uso versus Gunther. We'll see how that goes. Jey Uso's been kind of whatever. He's okay, but he was. Yeah. I went and saw the Royal Rumble when it was in Indy, and I mean he was over like Rover. I can't deny that. All the kids,
he's definitely over.
But as far as watching them, it's I don't know, not the best, pal. I'll just put it that way.
You would think he would bring more to the table, man, for sure. You definitely would think that. Man, yeah, and then after that, man, we're after we get done with the draft too, for everybody that's watching or whatever, we'll put it out in the sleeper chat too. We're just gonna grade everybody's draft, man. And just be like, hey, whose team do we like more so than our own, obviously. So that should be a fun exercise. Man,
I've gone through a couple of these mock drafts, and every single one is just totally
different,
totally off the wall, different. So if you're drafting your real Scott Fishbowl draft, whether it's in person or online, obviously try to prepare for it. But when it goes a little haywire, don't get too freaked out.
Don't panic.
Don't
panic.
Yeah.
Don't panic at all.
Oh my God.
Don't panic at all.
I drafted I've been in Cincinnati the last 2 years for the live draft, and I'll show up and I've sit there prepared, do my homework, and I sit down to draft, and it's just the most oddball stuff ever, and I just try not to freak out too bad. So
oh my God, dude, man, my first year, but I met this guy down here, Mr. Nick here. We're in two different divisions, man, and I think I was picking like at 1-8. So, dude, I take Justin Herbert, and then I take JT on the comeback. Of course, that's the year JT decides to hold out and everything else. Yep. Herbert freaking tears his finger off the bone. And then last year, man, obviously Anthony Richardson. So the moral of the story for me for going into this year, do not draft any Colts. That's the moral of the story. That's what I get. So, are you actually picking in 12 in Cincinnati?
Yep. So
nice.
I thought I'd replicate it a little bit. It's I've some mock drafts I've seen the quarterbacks go real early. Both tight ends go in the middle. That's kind of expected. And then everything else is just kind of the big thing is Travis Hunter, however you feel about the defensive scoring about it. And I haven't really seen him go too far. I saw Rashid Shaheed last year when a lot of people were drafting him because of the punt return stuff real high.
Returns.
But I haven't seen too much with Travis Hunter too high yet.
Yeah.
The last draft we did, he went like 4th round.
Yeah, about 4th or 5th. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Dang, man. Jeez. Getting sniped out here.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Minute I start getting sniped, I'll be dropping F-bombs and I'll have to escort myself off the stream. And
no, it's all right. No,
it's just
I put a parental advisory explicit up here for it, man, because you never know. It's me. I never know what's gonna come up. Nick is pretty good about it. Like I just go on these like rants and tangents sometimes, and it just starts flying, man. You know, like pipe bombs out here, baby. Like your boy, right. You know. So,
I'm not going to get you guys kicked off YouTube and Twitter tonight. I'm going to behave, but
come on.
You do that. You do that in front of a.
Hey, if you don't get kicked
draft
off YouTube, you're not doing it right then, right?
Well, I get to leave, and you guys are the ones fighting to try to get the get your page back. So we'll see.
I like it. They're going early. I love it.
Yeah, man, I'm trying something a little bit different tonight. I've been taking Bijan at 1 in most of the drafts, but I figured I'd try something.
I honestly think you made. I mean, look, I think you already made the right choice with Allen Hurts already. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a great stack already, just to start off.
But like the problem for me is that I just like the stack in general, and I don't like it when I do this here because I don't have a lot of stacking options because. Obviously,
stacking is overrated sometimes in a format like this. The only reason why I say that is because correlation-wise, you're most likely when it comes down to the playoff formats, people are going to already have your stacks anyway. The best thing you want to do is get a stack that's very contrarian. So, for example, if you have like an example, like you have Hurts. You do like a very contrarian stack later on, like later in the draft, like trying to see who will be the third receiver for the Eagles. Like, excuse me, something very contrarian because everyone could probably aim for Hurts and AJ Brown. Like that's something.
Man, yeah, I don't like doing this, man. This is like putting me in like a really awkward spot here. And I don't like it.
Well, I helped contribute to that.
Nah, that's all me. That's all me.
Oh, 10 seconds.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, James Cook.
Yeah. Man, which I don't even like James Cook, man. Like if I had my pick, my guy's Ray Davis, man. I'd mess with him. Man,
James Cook.
All right.
It could always be worse.
What?
It could always be worse.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
I mean, yeah, like you said, don't panic.
No, like this just lets me know that I will not be going quarterback early in my draft.
Because you already don't feel like your roster construction's good.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it because there's definitely and like this is probably like
being a frick got the same strategy right now.
Probably like a glorious idea.
I love it, yo. Yo, me and Joe got the same strategy.
No, man. Y'all strategy it out, man. Y'all strategy it out.
That's hilarious. Wow. It's the earliest I've seen Bo Nix go into mock.
Yeah.
Well, I just clicked the star on him. What in the world?
Yeah, but I think like in my mind, I feel like he should be a guy that moves up, man. I don't know what else to. That's the other thing too. Like on these mocks, man, it's kind of hard to like navigate and see
gauge.
Not the quarterbacks, man. Like it's hard to see.
Yeah, you never know.
Stuff. You know what I mean? So like that's a little bit tough. But like overall, man, like I don't know. Like I don't love this start for me. I think
I don't love this start for me.
I don't love it. I don't. I mean, yeah, I just don't. I don't. I'm definitely. The other thing, like we had kicked around too, like in our 101 chat, was Brock Bowers at 1, just to see like what that looked like, and I don't know if I can take a swing that big, man.
I don't know if I can do that either.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think it's terrible.
It's not, but
like I said, I just don't know if I could take a swing that big, man. Like that's a
huge risk.
That's a big swing, and like I said, I've struck out the last 2 years, which is why I'm at number 1. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to strike out this year. I'm just going to take the best player on the board, and if I fail, so is 90% of the rest of the world. So,
right. The thing about I think a lot of the scoring is obviously it's volume heavy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think a lot of people see players go off the board like the 2 tight ends, and then they feel like, oh, I got to get, George Kittle, everything's going to dry up.
Yeah.
I think instead of thinking that way, if Bowers and McBride are off the board instead of chasing for Kittle, just lay off and just go elsewhere. You don't have to get a tight end just because the other one's following.
Is what it is.
Right, and that's kind of the same way like I feel about quarterback, man. It's because I think like I did a draft last night, and I ended up with Caleb Williams and DJ Moore on a stack, and Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley on a stack, and taking Bijan, had Bijan in London. So like I just like the way that it goes because I think there's still a lot of quarterbacks out there. And we all know, man, we've been doing this long enough to know that there's a quarterback in that mid pack that's gonna pop, whether it's Jordan Love, whether it's Jordan Love, whether it is Caleb Williams, like I don't want to, say this to you guys, whether it's Kyler Murray, and he finds this, hey, I'll throw another name out there. Like we talked about Joe Mixon all show long, but what about CJ Stroud? Does he bounce back? So I think there's some really good candidates out there in the mid to later rounds as far as quarterback goes that you can get and still get similar-ish production. You still have the block 30 in the world, man.
James,
Yeah.
How you feel about that double stack?
I like what he's got.
Hubbard and Connor.
I like what he's got going on back there, man. Obviously, I love Nico, man, and Bucky Irving. I love him. Chuba Hubbard, friend of the program, and James Conner. James Conner, man, still consistently one of the most underrated backs in fantasy. Everybody keeps claiming the injury bug for him, which running backs, man, they're gonna miss time. I think we all know that, but he's produced, man. He's definitely produced at a very, very high clip, and if you can get, a top tier running back like that, start at round 5, like whether it is Scott Fishbowl or whether it's your standard draft, that's pretty damn good value. And the same thing with Chuba Hubbard, man. So I like what you got going on over there, man.
Just trying to pick up volume, and then of course I don't have everything organized over here like the quarterbacks and running backs, so I'm just going through the list and starring stuff and just kind of seeing the rest of the board. Like with this build here, I'm gonna throw some shit at the wall at tight end.
Caution to the wind.
Yeah, so I just I see the tight ends. I know there's some decent ones, but I'm gonna go with the running back and wide receivers, and I'll pick up a quarterback here eventually and go from there. But I feel all right so far. I don't think there's too many of them that are too wacky. But with Scott Fishbowl, the cool thing is just how flexible your team can be. I mean,
very flexible.
You can have,
especially in this format, man.
Yeah, you can start 2 quarterbacks. I don't think you necessarily have to. You can lean running backs. It'll work. You can draft 6 wide receivers and still make it work. So it's being flexible in Scott Fishbowl. I think when it comes to your actual draft is the biggest thing. Just you see how the board falls to you and then kind of work around it. And
Dustin picking Higgins at 3.9 is interesting to me. I don't know. Do we like Higgins that much?
I took him last night. Actually, I think he fell to me at maybe 312, or maybe I took him at.
I think he's going to be one of those players that are going to vary by the room. There's going to be certain players that you have to also. This is what I get from mock is that there's going to be players that, depending on the room you're in, you kind of probably won't know until you're live.
Oh yeah, you won't.
The changing of opinions on players is going to vary by the room, and that's something that when I went to the semifinals a couple years back with this, this is what I noticed as well. There's I look at one board and I'm like, this guy fell this much. He's like, yeah. It's like, huh. And then another player would this guy went that high. It's like, yeah, huh. Interesting. So it's always gonna be a varying opinion based on how the room is fit to see.
There we go.
Very interesting. Very interesting. He said, there you go.
Wow.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
I think that's a very good value.
I had Hunter
if he plays defense.
I had Hunter queued up.
Yeah.
I had Hunter queued up. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Well, he's there.
Yo, what up? What up? What up?
T-Mac's going to whoop some ass this year, too. I like that pick.
He is, man. He is. And, that's
cool.
That's one of the things that's always super crazy. Especially it's been that way at wide receiver over the last couple of years where it's you see somebody in college, they're out there just beasting on folks.
Here we go.
What?
Here we go.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't know, man. Here we go.
I'm just saying, man.
I'm just so conflicted about McMillan, yo. I think he could do it. I just don't think it's this year. If it's this year, okay. I just don't see it. The hype he's getting is somewhat valid, but it's just one of those things. We always get enamored with 6'5" receivers, and there's only some of them that actually go out there and actually go kill it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all I'm gonna say is this right here:
top 10 pick and everything, man. Pressure.
Everybody was shitting on Jamar Chase when he showed up on the scene.
No, that's a totally different story. That's a totally different page. The only reason why
how is that a totally different page if people are shitting
because
on people were shitting on Jamar Chase?
I don't know why they were. I was in the camp of I was trying to grab as much of him as I could because he played with his college quarterback and the chemistry is just that easy. But that's either here or there. What I was going to say really is just like, I don't know. I think McMillan's just a very interesting case, but call me crazy.
I mean, I'm here for it. He's going to get work. And I think
Jameson, friend of the program.
And I think you've seen last year, Bryce Young, and I will continue to keep talking about it, man. Last year when Bryce Young finished the season, adjusted completion percentage, he was one of the league leaders in that space. And if he continues the progression that he had towards the end of last year, you'll see. If that continues, man. So I don't know. I'm more of the camp that, like, I think if you can get T-Mac as a 2 or a 3, depending on how you build your roster, I'm here for it. Especially if you can get him as a 3, I'm absolutely here for that right there, like no doubt.
I think the cool thing about the Panthers is drafting Ted McMillan. It kind of resets the offense and puts Xavier Leggett back to his natural position because he was playing X last year, and by the end of the year, I mean, he was just not good. I mean, towards the end of the year, I'm just going to say, and I love Big XL, but you get, Adam Thielen and then Jalen Coker for all the coke heads out there. They'll be playing out of the slot. Yeah,
Coke boys, baby.
And then they brought in Hunter Renfrow. We'll see. He took a year off because he was sick. So if he comes back on,
that was a very smart signing by them. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out for sure.
Yeah, and especially like towards the end of the year. I mean, Bryce Young was really pushing the ball downfield, a lot of play action. That's where Ted McMillan really excels at. So, and then you get Xavier Leggett who can put him in space and, kind of hit the turbo button, have him, just a big dude that's really fast, kind of like DK Metcalf in a way. When he gets in open space, he's just going to burn you. So I'm excited about Ted McMillan. I know some people are a little skeptical just because X receiver is not I don't want to say it's not the norm, but it's just kind of fading out for the more sexier wide receivers these days instead of a guy who could just go up and get it. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell for sure.
And I don't know who Pigskin Papers is, but they took my boy Big Cock Brock Purdy, so that's frustrating.
Big Cock Brock Purdy.
Man, that's my dude right there.
Yeah,
he has carried me to the promised land a couple of years, and I feel like he slips every year. And I mean, he's been really solid. So
yeah,
I'm really pushing quarterback at the moment, and I hope it doesn't burn me too bad. Because I mean,
you're fine, dude. You're fine with QB, man.
I don't think so. Like I said, in this format, I think I don't know. You look at John's roster right now, and I think I'm starting to see what he was kind of worried about earlier.
Yeah,
it's like you get your dual superflex quarterbacks. Even Hurts is technically like a four.
Big Joe Frick out there.
Joe got you for sure.
He did. I had him queued up. I had him queued up.
John ain't got no running backs.
I don't. No, I don't.
So that's where it's like
this literally seems to be another Scott Fishbowl theme here too. Me leaving Scott Fishbowl drafts with no running back. So might as well keep the theme going.
I guess that's something you have to keep in mind of, sure, when it comes to that, because James Cook, the hero RB right now.
Yeah, I know. That's not what I wanted, man. That is.
You want to trade? I mean, can't do that.
That's not what I wanted, man. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh, you went with Ridley, huh? Again, huh?
Yeah, man. I'm here for Calvin Ridley, man. I started watching some film on him just last night, just all of his targets from last year. I just started watching film, and like a lot of it was just really shitty quarterback play. Like it doesn't get much more blunt than that. It was just really shitty quarterback play. And I think Cam Ward, even if he's your typical rookie and makes, and he's gonna make mistakes and throw picks and all that, like that's gonna happen. But I think like you're just gonna get better quarterback play than what you got last year from Will Mayonnaise Levis. You know what I mean? Like and Mason Rudolph, like it's gonna happen. So I'm here for the Calvin Ridley shenanigans, man. What do you think about him, James?
Mayo Boy was just the absolute drizzling shits, and I think that's me putting it that as nice as I can. So Titans have rebuilt the offensive line.
Very colorful language.
So I'm just saying.
I'm here for
it. But the offensive line will be better. I think the offense will be better with Cam Ward. I just think he's got more upside. And Calvin Ridley, I mean, he had some huge games last year. I know it's like back in the day, you had to watch Blake Bortles for fantasy. You just had to close your eyes and wait until all 4 quarters was done, and then you saw him get there. That was kind of like with Calvin Ridley. I mean, that's some of the games like it's pretty brutal to watch, but you get to the end and it's like, oh, he caught a bomb and he's got 20 points. I'll take it. I couldn't sit through it. It's miserable to watch, but
nothing worse than your co-host calling the day that he goes off for the career game, and I sat him. Like literally, it's like, oh yeah, it's 12:58, and he's like, I got a feeling about Calvin Ridley today. He's like, you know what? No, like that's where I'm going. Like,
I told you though.
Like, yeah. Oh man, what do you know? What do you know? What do you know? Who lands on Platinum Jet 7? My God, Mr. Caleb Williams this year. I see what you got. I see what you got going on. I see what you got.
Felt comfortable taking him there.
Let's see.
I think in terms of.
But wait a minute, you were standing on business for Dak Prescott, man. Like what? Like what's going on? Yeah, but you said you
on the same range.
Before Caleb. What's going on? I told you. I said Caleb was my guy.
They're in the same tier for me.
Oh, they're in the same tier. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I know. I bet they are.
There's something wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, your guy, you passed for my guy. That's all I'm saying.
Not really.
Oh, you're right.
I didn't think Dak was going to go that right there, but
no, that's fair. That's fair.
I got a little scared.
I didn't think it was going to but that's why I took a quarterback, because I was like, I knew that the back end, like, QB was going to get taken. So
I was hoping
that
for
Buster took a second QB already.
I don't know. It's with Scott Fishbowl, I think the really big thing is the bye weeks, and that's what killed me in the playoffs last year. I just didn't have enough horses to show up to the race with by the end of it. I got to the second round. All of my guys, like week 14, everybody's on a bye. I mean, I was calling people from the high school hoping they'd show up with my fantasy team. Like, you know what I mean? And I just I was starting Jermaine Burton the week after he got caught at the casino. That's how
that's bad.
Yeah. So that's
Lord.
Danny DeVito and Jermaine Burton. It's just that brutal. My quarterbacks were
who's got the best
Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix.
Oof.
Best team so far.
Other than who we think those are.
Man. Man. Let's see. I don't know, man. It's
like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's a pretty even draft, man. And I think that's that's the thing that's like really gonna make this crazy is like the non-roster requirements, man. Like I said, I'm not saying this because you're on the show, things, but I do like what you have going on, man. Just overall, like I know Puka's a baller, man, and I'm always one that's late to the show with him.
Puka.
Yeah, I love Nico Collins. Like Nico Collins is like, I said it last year, man. Before
that's every single draft there.
Yeah, that's a guy like I'm trying not to leave drafts without his Nico and Bucky Irving. Same thing, man. Bucky Irvin, man, got me to the playoffs in my home league, man. So I like your team. Outside of you, I like what Dustin's got going on, man. I like the combination of he's got a stack with McLaurin and Jaden Daniels. He got Saquon, got T. Obviously, got my boy DK Metcalf. Kelsey is still Travis Kelsey. It's just slow and ugly looking, and I think like that's the thing. Like with this group right here, is like it's slow and ugly looking. It is what it is, but the guy's gonna get peppered with targets, man. His last 3 picks, like Brian Robinson, like you could make a case that like we still haven't seen the best version of him. You could still make a case for that and that offense and possibly take it to another level. And Mandrews, who knows, man? Maybe he holds off my guy for another year. I don't hate that team. And Joe, I like what Joe did too, man. Stacking up all these running backs here. Got a running quarterback, got 2 running quarterbacks, 2 mobile quarterbacks with Fields and May. So far I'd say those are probably my 2 favorite teams.
I don't think he needed Judkins at 5'10", but he could have taken.
No, I mean, I'm not big on Judkins either.
No, I'm not a fan. He's just RB5. It's like you just go get a starter at that point.
Yeah. Well, he is a starter technically, but
leaning into the bit there with all the running backs. I like.
Yeah, he is. After Kamara, you just need to get I get it. Injuries happen. You know what I'm saying? But it's like now you're stuck with Matthew Golden, like who I don't know if he's gonna even start for Green Bay. But
go ahead and take one of them 49ers, Swanson. You know you want to. You know you want to. Because if you don't, he already got one. He got Kittle. I was about to say, if not, one of them ain't gonna get around back to you.
Yo. I'm just curious if Cooper Kupp has anything left. I'm really curious now.
What about you, man? Who you like? Well, whose team you like, Nick?
I guess I'm debating. I'm really debating. I guess my debate is Swanson's team is really not that bad. I like what he did there. Chasing Brown along with Hall.
Yeah.
Kittle in this format, obviously tight ends, you know what I'm saying, are going to get, as long as he gets his usage and volume, solid. Flowers, third receiver, makes sense. Kyler Murray, running quarterback, like, makes a ton of sense. And then Shakir, who he definitely can find himself with some ceiling weeks because Josh Allen will look to get him the ball. And then Cooper Kupp, if he's anything like Cooper Kupp we've seen, that's why I said I'm like a little lost about, because the Rams, like, that's their boy, and they let him go. Yeah. So it's like, what do they know that we don't then? Because he clearly didn't have enough juice left. It looked like. So that's where I'm curious. And then he has Warren, so that's a nice finish overall when it comes to at least 10 rounds. So I didn't mind Swanson's roster really. The other one, I'm just really curious what Gridiron has been doing, because as far as like his team, like, you know what I'm saying, like he has Brown and Montgomery, but then it's like everything else, it's like middle of the pack.
I actually like the fact that he has, like, I did it. The draft I did the other night, that's actually what I did. I took Jefferson at 1, and then London got back to me.
That's crazy.
And then that was crazy.
That's
and then T Higgins. That's what it was. It was Jefferson, London, and T Higgins got back to me in the 3rd. So I actually like that setup that he's got there. And then obviously the stack with, I'm a sucker for a stack. So Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton, like, I dig that right there, man. I can't help it.
Man,
was pretty good last year. This John Hampton's Lamar team, I think that's pretty sexy. You get Lamar, you get Christian McCaffrey, who I'm in on this year. Lad McConkey, who ends up just getting a lot of receptions, and that's pretty big in this league. Joe Mixon, he's good for what he is. I'm going to leave it at that. And then Rashad Rice, I think, is a really big bargain here in the 5th round. So, and DeAndre Swift, I've never been a Swift guy, but they didn't draft any other running backs and should be a good offense. So, I don't know. This team looks pretty solid to me over here too. And JJ McCarthy, I like him.
Yeah, I love me some KOC, man. I love me some KOC. I actually had COK tonight, corn on the cob for dinner before.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. And actually, and just to go backwards 1 second here, you were talking about Cooper Kupp. You told me about Calvin Ridley, and I told you that Cooper Kupp died 3 weeks before he actually died. I told you that. I said this.
Yeah, that's
he's
fine.
I think that's the thing. Is like if that's the version that the Seahawks are getting.
If I know that's the biggest if though.
Wolf.
Biggest if.
Wolf. All right, let's see here. How am I going to end this here? Yeah, because see, like now, James, man, if you look, you still even got obviously there's still some more picks left, man, but you still have Trevor Lawrence is still on the board, man, at quarterback, which you could do.
Yeah.
You could do a lot worse than that. Michael Penix is still there. Pretty sure I've seen Bryce Young, right? So there's still like some guys.
They're going a little crazier in this last pick.
Yeah.
Well, no.
CJ Stroud's still on the board.
Oh, he is? Okay, I didn't see him.
Yep. So I'm Cam Ward. We saw Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels last year with the rushing upside.
Yeah.
I just might as well throw a dart throw here at Cam Ward, and I probably could have taken him a lot later, and nobody would have batted an eye. But we're mocking here, so having a little fun with it. But yeah, we got Tuanon. He's still on the board. Bryce Young, like you said.
Yeah.
So
I would have messed with Cam. Yeah, like
if you want to draft a criminal, he's still on the board.
My quarterback.
It's a lot of criminals on this board, isn't it?
I'm praying for you. You got to deal with him for a year.
Swanson said Warren Rosado. He said he would have gone Stevenson or Kincaid. Stevenson, I think, is a pretty good value too, man. He's a guy that's like, still just hanging out. You know what I mean? Just hanging around.
Yo. I can't with Dustin, yo.
What did he say?
His last pick.
Oh my God, he's ridiculous, man. He's ridiculous. Shout out Dustin.
That's hilarious. It's hilarious, yo.
Oh yeah. Man, there's still. Might as well just go ahead and scratch my itch here. Call it good to wrap it up.
Scratch my itch, he said.
Yeah, man.
Yo, Joe has 7 running backs.
And you know what? Like I
truly, is the baby picking for him? What's going on?
No, I truly in my heart of hearts believe like he would show up to the dance and do some shit like this. This is why I rock with him. Just that right there. Like, yo, dude's got his own, he got his own energy, man, and I love it, man. I'm here for it.
But I guess the strategy ain't wrong because from an ad drop perspective, it's easier to probably see what kind of usage a receiver could potentially get later on in the year versus a running back. Because
but you think about it though, right? Like all of these, like his top 4 guys, Bijan Robinson, man, what did I just do with that? I think he had like he had something crazy, like a 70-something% snap share last year. It was wild. And like Josh Jacobs, like I think we all know like what he is and like what he does. So like you have him, you have Kyron Williams. I think he had like a 81 snap percentage last year, something crazy like that. So like he's got a lot of guys. Like Bijan had a 75% snap share, and Josh Jacobs had a 62% snap share. Kamara, obviously, we know he's going to be featured everywhere, and Kyron had the biggest snap share, 81%. So like he truly bought in on that. So like overall, like it makes sense what he's doing. So I'm here for it, Joe. I see you, man. I see you, bro. All right, let me go ahead and get my man Patty. We'll call it good. What?
Oh man.
Fire move. Good Lord.
I don't have any, man. I don't have any Steelers. You know I got to leave a draft with one, man.
What happens if Johnny Smith gets traded and takes Pat's spot?
Oh, don't worry. Listen, we'll be running Wildcat offense, man. Don't worry about it. With the tight ends, it's all good. It's all good, man. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph running the Wildcat offense. Can't wait. Arthur Smith
yes. Yeah, man.
And his porn stash just rocking it.
Oh, God. No way.
Man.
But listen, don't get me going, man, because I'll get in my bag real quick and start reminiscing about the Tennessee Titans and the run game and what he was able to do and how A.J. Brown could be DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers. It's just please don't make me do it, man. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Think the King Henry gonna pop off for 2K yards.
Man,
I don't
Hard to do
know.
with Lamar in the backfield. He's going to take up a lot
I
of that.
mean, that's rough.
Well, and like, you know, the other thing too, man, like Henry, like I was surprised to see this. Derrick Henry last year only played on 57% of snaps last year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that is like, and
he
that's
still had
insane.
325 carries.
Right, but like right. So he would like, so that's crazy that he played 57% of snaps, 325 carries, and did all of that. So like, obviously, like, what is his age? Like 31, I think. I think he's 31. Yeah,
he's just a battering ram, though. So it's like, you know,
but he's that freak of nature, man. Right? Like, you know, there's always the running back that's 30 and 30 years old, and there's always that small percentage of people that like you have to take out of that conversation. And I think he's one of the ones you have to take out of that.
He's just an outlier. He's an outlier.
Yeah.
He's definitely an outlier. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely an outlier. Like in terms of older running back, that it's like it's Derrick Henry. He's a Terminator.
Yeah, man. Yo, man, appreciate everybody, man, coming out tonight too, man. It took us a little bit to get it filled up, man, but we were able to get it filled up. And you know, I think it was a pretty good draft, man. And I think I told you earlier today, Nick, like some of these people, man, some of them are drafted, man, 12 days from now, man.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So
glad we can help. Glad we can help facilitate.
Yeah,
I'll be drafting next Sunday, so it's
are?
Dang, already?
It's right around. It's right around the corner. So Cincinnati's always one of the first ones. But if you even if you're not drafting at a live one, just to go hang out for the day, I'd highly recommend it. If you're close enough to the area, it's always a good time. I don't know if you guys do the live drafts as well, but they've been
definitely do live drafts.
They've been
the way to do it.
Yeah, we live, man.
They're a lot of fun. Raffles, beer drinking, hooting, hollering, all that good stuff. But no, it's I don't know. Scott Fishbowl has been. I've done it the last couple of years. It's been a blast, and just all about the community too. That's been the big thing. Just all the friends you make along the way. So it's been a good time.
Agreed.
All right, who had the worst draft?
Oh Jesus! Here we go.
Yeah, we're gonna end this picking on people.
That's the only way. That's the only way.
Man.
I'll take me. I'll take me.
Great political answer. Great political answer.
Political. I hate my team. I'll never draft a quarterback at 1 again. No.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's not as terrible. Like, you know,
I hate it.
It's not as terrible.
I like the beginning of the gridiron one with Jefferson and London. It's just the back end of it. I'm just looking for players with volume, and like Keon Coleman's been really hit or miss. Jordan Mason would be a lot of fun if Aaron Jones goes down, and then Darnell Mooney's got Drake London, so you probably can't start both of them each week. And then Debo, older player, seems like he's in shape. He didn't show up to camp fat like he has before, so. And then Jonnu Smith, I think he's one of these tight ends who ends up being like a one-hit wonder. Had a lot for whatever reason. You have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle last year, and they ran the offense through Jonnu Smith. So I like I said, I like the beginning of it. I don't think it's a bad team. I don't want to draft my wide receivers towards the end. If I'm going to go wide receiver heavy, I'm just going to do it at the beginning and then kind of set it and forget it. Kind of like the auto drafter did. Just went balls to the wall with wide receivers and then fell off a cliff there.
Oh man,
that's funny, yo.
Man,
no, I think everybody behaved pretty well tonight as far as these teams go.
Yeah,
I know there's some different builds, but as far as like out of left field, I don't think there's anything too crazy going out. So it's Monday. It's the beginning of the week. It's
Monday.
Everybody's kind of slow a little bit and not getting too wild.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I don't know, man. I guess for me, man, my guy, man, one of my guys, I like what he started off with Neighbors and Henry, and then like Tyreek Hill. I'm not subscribing to that this year. Like, I think like if you get, I'm not subscribing to it, man. I'm not, dude, I'm not, man. Like, maybe I miss it. Like, not at 2, man. Like,
I think we talked about that late in the year last year.
Yeah, I'm just like, speed is like, that's what
late in the year last year we talked about Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, it's scary hours with him. Ken Walker, I think Ken Walker is the ultimate hit or miss because Ken Walker can end up being, a top 5 running back, or Zach Charbonnet could show up to the party again and lead somebody to another fantasy championship, getting picked in the 12th round. I think Mahomes starts to kind of come back a little bit. Obviously, I think the world knows how I feel about George Pickens. Tyrone Tracy, I don't want anything to do with the Giants, but
I don't really either.
But I think like at that place, that's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. I like Steph Diggs in New England. Herbert is a pretty good value. Kyle Pitts, I'm quitting him unless this is my fantasy league here for Scott Fishbowl. 38, 26, 34, bust. And then the ultimate Scott Fishbowl player himself, Rashid Shaheed. So that one, I love Buster Jacoby, but I don't know, man. That one's it's a little bit dicey for me.
Anything with Kyle Pitts on the team is just hard to look at. That's no disrespect to the person drafting him.
No disrespect. No.
We've been there and done that, and I just
he knows he had listen. This guy had to listen to me every single day talk about Kyle Pitts, so he probably did it for me. Probably
get a lot of Kyle Pitts fatigue.
Yes, yeah.
All set. Who's the biggest value on the board in terms of biggest value on the board? Like in terms of like, wow, this guy went here. Type of thing.
I mean, Travis Hunter in the 6th round. I think a lot of people are going to get pretty. I don't think he's going to go like 1 overall, but I think like rounds 2 and 3 is probably where he's going to end up going.
Really?
Yeah.
That's spicy.
So just because of the defensive stuff,
yo.
And you'll find out in training camp if he's 70-30, 80-20, 100-100. We'll find out. I don't think it'll be that crazy, but I think that's a good value there.
Yeah, 6'1". Yeah, for John. Yeah, it makes sense. I guess where I'm at, the way he really played down the stretch, I think you got Tony Pollard. I was actually aiming for him to come around, hopefully back to me. Because I think with Tony Pollard, I think he's like that all-purpose back that people are just not going to give like enough attention to, like enough. I think he'll be one of those players that he'll vary room by room depending on how people see fit. So, for example, like Tony Pollard is going to be one of those guys that probably goes more like 7th round, like depending on how everybody else stacks their rosters. So I think he's going to be one of those players. I think easily Pollard can be. I could be talked into him being selected at the end of the 5th round, like just because of I think he has a solid RB2 like usage.
Yeah, I mean, he was RB21 last year, and it just Tony Pollard's one of these picks. It's not sexy, but you look at the end of the year and you get the volume and offensive line's better. I think the offensive environment, they'll score more touchdowns when Will Levis is not throwing or fumbling to the other team. I mean, Cam Ward might not be great, but can't be any worse than what Will Levis was. So I think Tony Pollard there. One more I do want to point out just as value. I think Michael Pittman in the 10th round, especially if you get Daniel Jones, just more consistent passer. Not saying he's any better, but Michael Pittman had a back injury last year, and I just think that these Colts weapons probably a little, behind as far as ADP goes. But Michael Pittman has been I'd say like a really solid wide receiver too. I know he's wide receiver 1 on the Colts for most people, but I mean he's had some pretty, reliable years. I'm not going to say he's great by any stretch, but compared to Cooper Kupp, Matthew Golden, Shakir, a couple rounds in front of him, I'd rather probably have Michael Pittman than those guys.
That's fair.
I could subscribe to that.
I got a couple, man, that like I seen like later on. I'm like, okay, like I kind of dig this. I'm not a Jerry Jeudy guy, like not even by any stretch of the imagination. At 9'6", like that's not too shabby for a guy that did what he did last year. I like Jalen Waddle at 7'6", and I do like those 2 picks in there. There was someone else I had seen that I was like, all right, maybe that was just it. Yeah, but I like those 2, like where they're at, man. I think Jalen Waddle is a forgotten man, and if you subscribe to the theory like I do that maybe Tyreek Hill is kind of on the other side of things, and James, you're saying, hey, Jonnu Smith is a one-hit wonder. Well, maybe it's time to Penguin, because last year Jalen Waddle was going in the 3rd, 4th round last year. So I think that's a pretty good value when I look at that for sure. So I'll leave it with that.
Who carries the biggest risk in the first 5 rounds? Carries the most risk.
First 5 rounds. Who
Carries
carries
the most risk.
Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
I'll go probably Kyron Williams. They bring in Jarquez, drafted him, and then Blake Corum's coming back from injury. I think Blake Corum is the backup to Kyron Williams as far as them being the runners, and then Jarquez got like the passing ability. He's got speed, which these running backs don't have, and I mean Kyron Williams, like the last couple of years, is just he's gotten so much volume, and I think some of that volume can kind of go away. And if Jarquez Hunter picks it up a little bit, if they like him, that it adds more speed to the offense. I can see a scenario where Kyron Williams just doesn't end up being the bell cow. He had some fumbling issues, especially down the stretch last year. So Kyron, I think is a fine pick, but I've, just immediately kind of looking a little, I think he's a little dicier than a lot of people think.
Man, I don't like, and I'm not saying this to be like that guy, but like I know Omarion Hampton is really good. I know he is, but like how with what the Chargers are gonna do, I just feel like Hampton's price tag is pretty expensive for what it is that they're gonna do, and like
starting out price wise.
Yeah, he's gonna I have no doubt he's gonna be the man. But Najee Harris is still a solid back, man. And so I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna pay that tag on Hampton, even in redrafts. Like obviously Dynasty, it's a different ball game, right? But even here, man, like a Scott Fishbowl, and maybe I'll miss the boat on him for sure. But I've been thinking that's a pretty expensive tag, for him. So I think that he carries risk for me just in that space that he could still be a part of a split backfield that could be 50-50 or 60-40. And maybe towards the end of the year, maybe it pops. But where Caleb Johnson goes, I think that's where I think Hampton should be going, because I think they're in very similar situations as far as the backfield. Caleb Johnson, obviously, with Jalen Warren, it's just a matter of health. So that's one for me. And then, yeah, I'll just call it after that right there, man. That's probably my one. And I always feel like such a jerk for saying that, because I feel like somebody's gonna come unglued on me. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of this rookie fever. I think a lot of these rookies just get pushed way up the board. Like Judkins, right in the same couple spots away from him. I mean, Cleveland more than likely going to be a bad offense.
Yep.
They drafted Sampson as well. So I mean, you got 2 guys there. Plus Jerome Ford, and then it's you got 3 running backs on a bad offense, and we just took him in the 5th round. It just, I think these rookies, and I don't mean that in a bad way, even though I sound like a jerk, just like we're talking about, but you get Hampton at the 5th round, or Najee Harris goes in the 8th round, 3 rounds later,
right?
And I mean, he's had a couple 1,000-yard seasons. As far as value, I mean, rather roll the dice with Najee. I mean, they could get into the red zone and Najee ends up getting 10 touchdowns just as a battering ram. Where
exactly.
Maybe Omarion Hampton does all the work, on the field until they get the red zone. Then they bring in Najee and ends up the vulture there. So that's me. There was a time in this world where I drafted rookies left and right, and I always thought that I was, smarter, better, faster, stronger, all that stuff. But these rookies, I just think are starting to get a little bit priced out. I mean, Ashton Genty, I know everybody loves him. Hasn't played down. He's he's a 1st round, outside of Scott Fishbowl. You're drafting him over guys I don't know. It's just
Derrick Henry.
Josh Jacobs, who got the ball 400 million times last year.
Yeah.
And you get Ashton Genty, who had close to 400 touches last year. We worry about Saquon Barkley, falling apart. I'm not saying Genty will because he's younger, but I mean, he got a lot of work last year. And I know he doesn't have any competition in the backfield, but it's just I'm paying 1st round for a rookie. We just did this with Marvin Harrison last year.
Yes, we did.
Yes. We can't do that. I don't
know.
You can't do the cut and copy and paste thing with that.
I know it's
running
different,
back
but,
is going to be totally different for receiver.
but it's just
no, but it's the context of the rookie and the height. You know what I mean? Like it's the context of like, hey, like here's a rookie that like we feel can't miss because don't care what anybody says. Like everybody will say, oh yeah, BTJ. Everybody had Marvin Harrison in that spot as the guy. Like he was going ahead of Neighbors, he was going ahead of BTJ. Like everybody had him in that spot, and I think he's just saying
everyone
like,
loved the pedigree background of him too because his father played stuff like that. Yeah,
all the things, man. Like you could the same thing with Genty because I honestly feel the same way about Genty is that and again it's rookie fever. He's a first round pick, hadn't played it down. He's probably not going to the greatest offense in the world. You can say that Chip Kelly is going to improve this offense. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. The pedigree of players of competition that he did play against, I know that's a lame excuse and that's a lame thing to say, but it's the reality of it's the reality of the situation, right? So like just for me, like I'm in the same boat that like I'm probably not gonna have any shares of Ashton Genty because
I don't mind Genty with the selection of if you already have like you need to do something like I'm all in favor of this is the same, not the same, but this is very eerily similar to last year when I had Achan. Like Achan's my guy. And he did, and to take the pressure off my roster, like he didn't have to be the RB1 of my team consistently week in, week out. People were so concerned of Achan last year. Of like, was he going to hold up? This, da. It's like, well, for worst case scenario, if he doesn't, like, he's my RB2. He's not my RB1. So that's where I think there needs to be some like with rookies in general. There needs to be some. There's going to be risk baked in. Like you have to calculate that risk though. So it's like for me, like with this roster and currently situation, like you have Gibbs, you have Genty, and you have Taylor. So it's like the combination of that outweighs the risk in general for Genty there. Worst case scenario, if Genty is my RB3, that's fine.
Yeah, but like this is, and again, like if you get Genty as your RB2,
if we're talking season,
that's fine. We're talking
season long as my Genty as your RB1. You guys have all the points in the world about that.
Yeah,
that's not very calculated.
Yeah, that's all. Like that's what we're just saying is like a lot like and a lot of like underdog or DraftKings best ball drafts. Like Genty is going in the first round, and like to your point, like with Achan, like all right, like where he was going, you could find yourself in a situation where like it could make sense, right? Like very similar Sirius XM listener league. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Devon Achan. All right, cool. Like no problem. Like no problem. Like no problem, right? But like when you run them out there naked, or when you run them out there as the RB1,
that's where that's not calculated.
That's the problem, man.
Not calculated.
The other thing about it too is like when you're drafting him in the first round, he's basically got to have like the Christian McCaffrey season to pay off,
or the Zeke Elliott year that we keep talking about from years ago too.
And like, there's no room to go about it, and Ashton Genty or Jahmyr Gibbs, McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, James Cook. I mean Chase Brown,
Derrick Henry.
Towards the end of the year, like these guys who have already done it. I'm not saying Genty can't, but when you pay the first round, I mean he's got to do that, or else it's considered kind of I don't want to say it a bust, but he's not going to pay off what he did. And him, or say if CeeDee Lamb goes after, I've seen that happen a couple times, not very often, but in a real world, I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb, who's done it every single year, compared to a rookie on a fine offense. But I just that's the part of this rookie fever that I don't get. Like Omarion Hampton went at 5'5". James Conner, I know I took him a couple spots earlier, but even afterwards, I mean, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard.
Yeah, David Montgomery is a screaming value for what you were talking about. Because like with Hampton or Judkins, you guys talking about him, I'm looking at Montgomery at 6'1", 6'5". If I didn't have Gibbs, I'm like, yeah, definitely.
Right.
For sure. Or even Swift, we could talk potentially into. Not exactly the biggest Swift guy, but he's someone that he's an all-purpose back. So that's where like that comes into play. He's done consistent work. You know what I'm saying? So same thing with Pollard. It's like, all these guys that we talk about, that range of the 5'5", 5'10", Judkins and Hampton, where Judkins could be splitting backfield, and we're drafting him at the end of the 5th round. Like,
yeah.
So that's rough.
Yeah,
kind of brutal, but that's just kind of. I'm glad we're kind of all on the same page here. I get the Genty hype, but as far as like me drafting him, it's gotta be calculated. I can't really do it, and it sucks. I probably won't have much of them, but at the same time, that's just not really a risk I'm willing to take at that price. So it just is what it is.
Yep.
I'm all for if he's my RB2, that's what I would want him at. Like people, like I said, we could be talking about in the next month or so. We can talk about Genty being selected the first 7 picks, and you're like, ooh, I don't know about that.
Little rich for me.
That would be like, I'm tapping out.
No, I got nothing. Yeah, I'm all in. No, I'm cool on that, man. I'm cool.
You tapped out? Yeah, I did. I tapped out.
I'm cool, man. I'm cool.
Tapped out on that.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I have a question for you too, man, James. Like, just to kind of go back to wrestling. I know CM Punk's your guy, and maybe like I've missed this on social media, but 2 things. Your favorite all-time wrestler, and what's your favorite match to go to all time?
Ooh, my favorite, easily Bret Hart.
Okay.
So, and my go-to is
very
Bret
easily.
Hart versus The Undertaker.
Why?
With, Shawn Michaels as special guest referee.
SummerSlam. I love it.
So,
I love it.
I was 4 years old, and I don't know. I met Bret Hart at one of the little convention things a couple years ago, and I know they say don't meet your heroes, but man, he was pretty damn cool to me. So I don't care. But he was Bret Hart's always going to be my guy. So he's I don't know. I'm 30 something years. I think I'm 32. I'd have to confirm with.
I think you're 32.
I love it.
So, but I mean, I've been watching wrestling since I was 4 years old. I've seen some cool stuff. I've seen some shitty shit along with it. I've seen a little bit of everything. So, but it's Bret Hart's always going to be the guy. But I mean, right now, CM Punk, I've enjoyed him. It is a slog to watch Raw and SmackDown right now.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is like. For 3 hours, you get about 15 minutes of content, and it can I can go on Twitter and I can just go on Twitter, and if something's real cool, I'll check it out. And I watch AEW too, and it's got its quirks about it. I know a lot of people kind of dump on it, but it's if you want wrestling, you go to AEW. If you want a little bit of everything, go to WWE. But there's a lot of content out there. I don't have enough hours in the day. Like I read about NXT, but I can't keep up with it anymore. Like I watch pay-per-views. If something's real cool, I'll check it out. But man, 3 hours and entrances are 20 minutes a piece. You got commercial breaks in the middle of the matches. They got Fireball on the ladders. I mean, they're gonna put sponsorships on the middle of the title. You're gonna have like Blue Chew in the middle of the WWE title by the end of it.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's getting so ridiculous. Like when Vince was around, you know what I'm saying? It's like he would never have done what they're doing now in that type of advertising and stuff like that. And I get it. I don't mind if there's like a couple of them on the ring, but it becomes crazy when there's like 10 of them on the ring mat alone. And then, like you said, like customizing a ladder, like for average, it's like, come on, really?
Yeah.
Really? It's cool and all in a way, but it's also like it's overkill.
Yeah, they were like before the main event of WrestleMania. I think it was ice cream bars or something like that. They were just like slamming it in your face, and it's like we've had the biggest match, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, and here's the advertisement before, just like smashing all in your face, and it's just like, come on, dog, just let it breathe for a minute. We don't have to do this.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say I knew what I was telling Nick earlier. I said I knew what time it was. Like with you, I seen you at the expo, and I think you had on like a Scott Hall shirt or a Razor Ramon shirt or something. And I was like,
I had the NWO Wolfpack.
I was like that dude right there. I was like that dude right there. That dude right there, man. I was like, he all right, man. He all right. Man.
Oh, I had Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan one too, but I mean Hulk Hogan I can't really wear, so I had to put that on the. In the closet, and kind of pack that one up. But no, it's No, I'm wearing a Kurt Hennig at Mr. Perfect.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
Yeah, all right. So, yeah, I dig that.
All right,
I dig that. Now that's perfect.
Not gonna take my shirt off in front of all the viewers. But no, it's wrestling's been my jam. So Anytime anybody in the world wants to talk some wrestling, I'm all about it. I don't know. I was watching stuff from like the 80s the other day. I feel like I know more about the 80s wrestling than I do now. And I was born in 93. So
man,
it's like,
we can talk about it. We can. So I'm 10 years older than you, but we can talk about it. We can do it, man. We can do it. Actually today, man, I showed my youngest daughter. She'll watch wrestle with me. My oldest one won't, but like my youngest one, she will. So I showed her, of course, Hell in the Cell with Mankind and the Undertaker. And she's like, oh, what's real?
Yeah,
what's
that's
yeah.
That's what will get someone involved.
I'm like, that's real. I'm like, that is real right there. So then I was getting ready to show her the other Hell in the Cell, the very first one with Shawn Michaels and the Taker. But yeah, man, like no, I'm a straight up, wrestling junkie as well, man. So what else you got going on, man? Like where can people find you at? Where what's going on with you?
I'm always on the Twitter machine at Jameson Rules, if I could point at it correctly. There we go.
Yeah.
Over at Fantasy and Frames, I do the Rider Dynasty show with JJ Wenner and Joe Harlow. Whoop. There you go. We do every Thursday at 7 o'clock, 7 Central, I believe. 7 Central, 8 Eastern. We do the Rider Dynasty podcast talking. There you go. You'll get it. There we go.
I know, right? Jeez.
So, but other than that, on the Twitter machine, in Discord, doing a lot of stuff for Fantasy and Frames. So check out all the content. They got redraft, they got Dynasty, they got best ball, they got a lot of IDP if you're into defensive stuff. So other than that, man, I just Twitter, a little bit of wrestling. That's basically about it. Just kind of gearing up for fantasy football season. I know we're in the weeds already, but it's around the corner. Where we'll be full time, ignoring our families, setting waivers, debating whether Alexander Madison or Brenton Strange is going to start in our lineup this year. It's coming. It'll be real soon. So
yeah,
I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. It's been a blast. And
yeah, man. Yeah,
so football, wrestling, don't get no better than that.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we were able to have you on, man, for sure. Definitely appreciate you, man, hopping on here with us. We're gonna try to give this thing a shot again next week too, man. With probably gonna be our last Scott Fishbowl mock draft. Since everybody's gonna be starting about a couple days. I know, man. StreamYard, man, you guys are killing it right now. So we'll give it a shot next week, man, and see if we can have the same kind of energy, man. So
had to pull up the Facebook.
yeah. So yeah, man, I don't know if you got anything else, Nick, or what, man.
Nope. Great show, everybody. We'll be back here next week. You're gonna have to come on and tune in.
You silly. I can't even see shit. Yeah. I don't know what y'all can see, but I can't see shit. So killing it. First day on the job. Appreciate the love, Frick.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next week. We're gonna have another one of these mock drafts. So if y'all want to get in, tune in, hit us up and we'll give you guys first selection at the picks if y'all want to actually get involved. If not, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
We out.